So good evening guys. So today I'll be making ndole, and the ingredients I'll be using for my ndole is crayfish, dry um, crayfish, garlic, ginger, onions, white pepper. I don't have fresh pepper at home, so I'll be using some dried pepper, but I prefer fresh pepper if you have. And peeled granules. I'll be using cow beef, some dry fish, and frozen bitter leaves. And what I usually do, this is already washed, but I always wash at home, so I'll be boiling this at home with some limestone just to make sure I don't have like too much bitterness. And then I'll begin with boiling a granite. So gonna put the granite in some water, and I'm gonna give it a boil for like 10 minutes. While this is boiling, I'm also going to put the bitter leaves on fire and let it cook with the limestone. So now we've boiled our bitter leaves for about 7 minutes. So I'm gonna give it a good wash and rinse to take out all the sand and limestone. So we're gonna give the leaf some really good. I'm gonna wash this until I can no longer see like any sand beneath the bowl. I usually put a bowl under just so that when I am rinsing it, I make sure like when I've rinsed it for a while, you see from this bowl you can see a lot of sand. So when you have rinsed and washed repeatedly until you can no longer see any sand beneath this bowl, then I know it's ready. So I always make sure I rinse the bowl as well, just so that I repeat the process until I can no longer see that there is sand in the bowl. So this I can do like several times, because it's very important that you don't have sand in your bitter leaves, because it's just gonna ruin the whole eating process. So make sure that you wash this thoroughly. So also I will start the process of cooking my meat and the dry fish. So I'll be adding some salt, so some Maggi cubes, and some onions just to give it some flavor. And I'm gonna let this cook. So now I've repeated this process for like I think 7 times, and I believe right now it's like clean and properly washed. So we're just gonna have a quick look underneath this and see if we still have some sand under. And you see even the water has become clearer, then that's a sign that is clean. So you see we have no sand, and then we know that it's properly washed. And then we're just gonna squeeze out the excess water from this. So here we have our pre-boiled or parboiled white granules. So we are just going to combine it in the blender where we have the onions, the garlic, the ginger, and the crayfish, and give it a good blend. So our meat has been steaming for a while now. I actually like my meat dry, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put it in the oven so I can get it dry. But if you do not mind yours getting grilled, what you can do is you can just pour in your blended granite paste. But for me, since the meat out here is quite easy to cook, I don't want to let it overcook, so I'm going to take it out to grill for a little bit. But the dry fish is actually stronger, so I'm going to let it cook with the granite paste. And I'm going to be cooking the granite paste for about for 35-40 minutes, because I have some persons at home that really get troubled when the granite paste is not properly cooked. So I like to let it cook for a little longer. It's like 35-40 minutes. So our granite paste, I'm gonna just add into the pot, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some white pepper. Then I'm gonna let this cook for about 35 to 40 minutes before adding the granite, the washed bitter leaves. So remember to check on the granite from time to time, so to avoid it getting burned. So you're just gonna give it a little stir. So I'm cooking this on medium heat, just so it doesn't get burned. I really want it to get cooked. And then I'm gonna cover it and let it sit again for about 20 minutes. So our paste is almost ready. So in the meantime, I'm going to heat up some granite oil so I can fry some onions. So now the oil has heated up for a while, we're gonna add our onions. Let it fry for like a minute. So now our granite has cooked for about 40 minutes and it has thickened. So we're just gonna go ahead and add the washed bitter leaves and give this a good mix. So the bitter leaf is fully combined, so I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper, not too much because not everyone loves pepper. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Remember that we use some salt and Maggi when we're boiling the meat, so we're not gonna put so much. And then a little bit more of Maggi. Remember to taste while you're adding. I really do not have the measurements for this, so you adjust to your own taste. Mix this up. And then we are going to go ahead and add the oil and the onions like that. And I'm going to go on ahead and add my dry meat or grilled meat. So I'm just gonna mix this all together. So if I remember correctly, I used about 500 grams of peeled granite, but I used about 400 grams. And then the bitter leaves, after I'd washed it, I think it was like 2 of my palms bitter leaves. That should be like about maybe, I don't know, it said 500 grams on each and they were 2, but when I washed it, it reduced, so I should say like 500 grams of bitter leaves as well. But you can always boil your granite and remove a little bit of paste aside, and then you can always add if you find like the bitter leaf is much, so you can always add the paste. But it would not be too funny if you like have all the paste in the pot and then you start adding the bitter leaves and the bitter leaves becomes less or smaller than the paste. Then it's just going to be sinky, or it's just going to be like soup instead of the ndole. So you can always adjust to your likeness. Some people prefer to have like a little bit more vegetable, but I like to have like a balance. I don't want to have it too I don't want to have so much bitter leaves, so I just want to have a balance. So, but you can adjust to your preference. So our ndole is ready. I'm just going to go ahead and boil some yams that I'll be serving my ndole with. You can eat with plantains, you can eat with dodo, you can eat with the bobolo miondo, but I'll be eating my ndole tonight with some boiled yams. So you just add your yams in. One more time, you boil with some salt. So then you cover it and you let it cook. Lick your screen.